He's 92 years old. Still touring. Still singing. Still that same outlaw spirit who refused to let life tell him when to quit. This is the story of Willie Nelson, the boy from Texas who wrote his pain into poetry, who turned rebellion into art, and who's now spending his last ride doing what he's always done best, living free. Long before the bandanas and braids, before the fame and fame's heavy price, Willie Hugh Nelson was just a barefoot boy from Abbott, Texas. Born on April 29, 1933, in the shadow of the Great Depression, raised by his grandparents in a tiny house where hymns and hardship lived side by side. They didn't have much, but they had music, the kind that comes from the heart and heals what words can't. By the time Willie was 7, he'd written his first song. By 10, he was performing at local dances, strumming his worn-out guitar, dreaming of the big world beyond Abbott. That small-town boy didn't know it then, but he was going to change American music forever. In the 1950s, Willie left Texas for Nashville, chasing a dream and carrying only a notebook full of songs. But Nashville wasn't kind to dreamers who didn't fit the mold. They said his voice was too nasal, his style too rough, his look too unpolished. But Willie had something they couldn't understand: authenticity. And when Nashville shut the door, he started writing songs for others. Crazy, for Patsy Cline. Hello Walls, for Farron Young. Nightlife, for Ray Price. Each song a story. Each lyric a confession. And one by one, they became classics, the kind of songs that never die. But the songwriter wanted more than quiet success. He wanted freedom. In 1972, tired of rules, image, and the slick Nashville sound, Willie packed his bags and went back home to Texas. There, surrounded by his people, his pain, and his guitar, he found himself again. And with that, outlaw country was born. He grew his hair, tied on a red bandana, and started singing on his own terms, raw, soulful, unapologetic. No fake smiles, no studio polish, just truth. In 1975 came Red-Headed Stranger, a quiet, haunting record about love, loss, and loneliness. Critics didn't understand it at first, but America did. The album went multi-platinum, and the song, "Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain," brought tears to millions. That was the moment Willie Nelson stopped being just another country artist. He became a symbol. Through the 1970s and 80s, his name became legend. On the Road Again, Whiskey River, Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground. Songs that carried both dust and soul, highways and heartbreak. He was no longer just singing country. He was singing life. And then came the Highwaymen, Willie, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, and Chris Christopherson, for outlaws, for poets, for rebels with guitars instead of guns. They didn't follow country music. They were country music. And for a time, they made the whole world believe in it again. But the road wasn't always kind to Willie. Behind that easy smile was a man who knew loss deeply. He lost friends, lost money, lost faith more than once. In 1990, the IRS hit him with a $32 million tax bill, a number so huge it could have broken anyone. But Willie didn't run. He went back to the thing that had saved him all his life: music. He released the IRS tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories? An album meant to pay back what he owed. And slowly, song by song, dollar by dollar, he did. That's the kind of man he is: humble, patient, persistent. The kind who doesn't ask life to be easy. He just asks for another day to sing about it. There were darker times too. He lost his son Billy in 1991, a tragedy that left scars deeper than words could reach. For years, Willie carried that pain quietly. But when he finally spoke about it, he said something that still echoes with wisdom. You never get over it. You just learn to live with it, and to sing through it. And maybe that's what makes him different. Willie Nelson doesn't sing to forget. He sings to remember. In between tours and albums, he never stopped giving. He co-founded FarmAid in 1985, alongside Neil Young and John Mellencamp, a movement to help struggling American farmers. And 40 years later, in 2025, Willie was still there, old hat, worn boots, and a heart that refuses to quit. He's also been a loud voice for peace, for nature, and for the legalization of marijuana, something he's joked about more times than anyone could count. To him, freedom means more than fame. It means living by truth, even if it's inconvenient. In recent years, as the world changed faster than most could keep up, Willie didn't slow down. He released Last Leaf on the Tree in 2024, an album that felt like a love letter to time itself. And now, in 2025, he's back again with Workin' Man, Willie Sings Merle, a tribute to his dear friend Merle Haggard. Each song sounds like a farewell without ever saying goodbye. He's still touring, co-headlining with Bob Dylan on the Outlaw Music Festival tour. Fans in their 20s stand beside fans in their 80s, all swaying to the same old rhythm that's carried America through joy, war, heartbreak, and healing. At every stop, people cry. Not because it's sad, but because it's sacred, watching a man who has outlived his generation still pour his soul into every note. Then, there are the rumors. Some say this might be his last tour. Others claim he's planning one more album, one more ride. Online stories have even tied his name to strange headlines, donations, tributes, and unverified claims. But the truth? Willie hasn't said much about any of that. He just smiles, plays his guitar, and whispers to the crowd, "I'm not through with it yet." And somehow, those words feel like a promise. When you watch him now, old hands trembling slightly as they strum that beat-up guitar named Trigger, you realize something. It's not just about the music anymore. It's about the man. The laughter lines, the quiet eyes, the voice that's seen too much and yet forgives it all. Willie Nelson isn't trying to be remembered. He's just trying to keep living. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us. That no matter how long the road gets, you can still be on the road again. That it's never too late to sing, to love, to believe, to laugh. Because if a 92-year-old outlaw can still stand on stage and sing to thousands, then maybe we can still find our own song too. In a world obsessed with speed, youth, and fame, Willie Nelson is the quiet reminder that legacy isn't built in headlines. It's built in hearts. Every time his raspy voice hums through a speaker, someone somewhere remembers their father, their youth, their first heartbreak. And that's what great art does. It doesn't age. It simply deepens. Willie Nelson has become more than a musician. He's become America's memory. When the lights dim and the crowd hushes, there's a special moment that always happens. Willie looks up, smiles softly, and begins. On the road again! Just can't wait to get on the road again! And for a moment, it's 1979 all over again. You can feel the freedom in the air, the long highways, the sunsets, the laughter of friends long gone. That's the power of Willie Nelson. He can make time stop. And when that final song fades, when his guitar finally rests, people don't just clap, they stand. Not because it's the end, but because it's proof that a man who gave his whole life to music still belongs to it. So here's to the last cowboy poet. To the red-headed stranger who taught the world how to love and lose with grace. To the man who turned pain into melody and rebellion into beauty. Willie Nelson may be nearing the twilight of his journey. But his music, his spirit, will keep riding through generations that haven't even been born yet. Because legends don't die. They just change songs. If this story touched your heart, leave it in the comments. Tell us, what's your favorite Willie Nelson song? Was it always on my mind? Blue eyes crying in the rain, or on the road again? And if you believe Willie's voice still matters in today's world, share this video. Let the legend ride one more mile. Because somewhere out there, a boy with a guitar is dreaming. And Willie Nelson's story reminds him it's possible.